How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tezvav, Daf 15 of Masechta Sotah. Friends, Daf 15, Daf 15 is gewaldig. What do you want me to tell you? We go right to talking about the Korban Mincha, and then we get to a new Mishnah, which goes weiter on what happens in the Sotah process. Friends, let's jump in. Wow, Daf 15. We're like basically a third of the way almost to Masechta Sotah already. How's Masechta Sotah going? Pretty good, right? Let's go weiter. Okay, we're going to start in Daf Tezvav with Aleph. I guess we kind of did we did a lot yesterday of Tezvav with Aleph. We're about a third or more of the way through. At the two dots where it says, just that, the reason why I kept on going weiter yesterday was because we had that brisa explaining the process of a Korban Mincha, and it just was explaining the brisa, and it ended. First of all, it wasn't that hard, and it also just kind of I wouldn't want to pick up in the middle of the brisa right now. That wouldn't be so cool. And we're makbid to be cool at Babylon Talmud. All right, so we say kol amenachos v'chulei. I don't know. Can you find it? Maybe about 15 lines into the page. It's basically the two dot. I don't know. There's a bunch of small two dots up until then, and then this one goes for 20 lines. So maybe you could identify it that way. Kol amenachos v'chulei. So we had said that all of the menachos in general you offer with oil and frankincense. However, the mincha of a sotah, there's no oil and there's no frankincense. Now, v'chol hamenachos tu'unos shemen u'levona, frak the Gemara, but is that an accurate statement? Do all menachos require oil and frankincense? V'ikam minchas chote, d'rachmana omer lo yosim alea shemen v'lo yiten alea levona. But what about the flour offering of a sinner, where the verse says that you do not offer it with oil and you do not offer it with frankincense? Hochi kamer. This is what the Mishnah is saying. Kol hamenachis teunis shemen ulevona. In general, flour offerings require oil and frankincense. Uvaos menachitin, and they are wheat flour. Uvaos solis, and they come fine flour. Right? So in general, Korban Minchas require these three kind of groups of settings. One is that it requires oil and frankincense. The other is that it will be of wheat flour. And the third is that it will be fine flour. Minchas chote. Now when it comes to Minchas chote, so afal pisha ena tu'una shemen ulevona. So granted, one of those groups of things it doesn't require, right? There's no oil and frankincense, but ba menachitin, it's still wheat. Uva asoles, and it's still fine flour. Minchas ha'omer. If you look at the Minchas ha'omer, right? We're starting Sfiras ha'omer now, right? The Minchas ha'omer. So afal pishi ba min ha'orin. So it's not wheat flour, it's barley flour, but tu'una shemen ulevona, it requires oil and frankincense. Uva ageres, and it's very fine flour. But vizo, when it comes to the flour offering of a sotah, none of that applies. Eina tu'una lo shemen v'lo levona, no oil and no frankincense. Uva min hasorin, it's not wheat, it's barley. Uva kemach, and it's just regular flour, not fine flour in any way. So none of the things that generally apply to Korban Minchas, either all of them or at least 2 out of 3 of them, none of them apply to the flour offering of a sotah. Tani, we're learning about Reb Shimon. Says Reb Shimon, badin hu shetei minchas chote tu'una shemen ulevona. So says Reb Shimon, look, in general, I would logically conclude that the flour offering of a sinner should require oil and frankincense, shelo yeh chote nisker, so that a sinner should not be getting let off easy by having an easier korban that doesn't require oil and frankincense. However, so why doesn't a minchas chote have oil and frankincense? Shelo yeh korbani mehuder, because it's the flour offering of a sinner. We don't want a sin offering to be a very elaborate, amazing thing. It should be kind of underspoken, low key. Offer it and move on. Right? Not that they want it to sort of bring pride and glory to a sin offering. And generally, it would be logical to think that a regular korban chatas, right? A fellow is machal Shabbos by accident, he has to bring a korban chatas. So that korban chatas should theoretically require libations, right? Flower offerings, right? Isar and soles, revius, a hin of some wine. So shelo yeh chote nisker, because why should a sinner be let off the hook easy by not having to bring the nesachin? However, umipnema eina tuuna. So why doesn't the korban chatos? Why don't you bring nesachin? Shelo yeh korbanu mehoder, because we don't want a korban chatos to be this big, beautiful korban, that like you should be taking pride in. No, it should be understated. It's a korban chatas after all. Aval chataso shel mitzora v'ashamo. But for example, a mitzora who brings a chatas in an asham, and there to unin nisachim lefi she'ein boin al chet. Now by a mitzora, his korbanos are not coming because he sinned. They're coming because there's a mitzvah to, we're going to see in a second, but let's just say there's a mitzvah to bring these korbanos. So because it's not on account of him sinning, so therefore you do offer the nisachim with the chatas and asham of mitzora. Ini, what do you mean that the mitzora hasn't sinned? That there are 7 reasons why somebody might get leprosy, and it is because he sinned. So what do you mean he didn't sin? Hasam mi nigaeha hu de ikaper lay. Well, yes, he sinned, and because he sinned, he got leprosy, and the leprosy is his atonement for his sin. But kimaisi korban, when he's bringing the korban, that's for an andrezach, that's for a different reason. L'ishtaruye pikajim hudika maise. The korbanos is just that, he was a mitzvah, he can't eat kachim until he brings korbanos. But those aren't because he sinned. The korbanos are not because he sinned. The korbanos are to allow him to eat kachim once again. And therefore, those korbanos you would bring nisachim. Elamiata chatas nazir teituna nisachim. Well, one second. If a nazir becomes tameh, and he has to bring a chatas, when he becomes tahor again, that should require, oh no, I made a mistake. Sorry. A nazir at the end of his nazir experience, one of the korbanos that he brings is a korban chatos, so that should require nisachim, since he didn't sin. He's just a nazir. It's not coming for a sin. Hakaper the Amr Nazir Nami Chotehu. Well, actually, as we've seen, that there's opinion of Rabbi Elazar Hakaper who says that a Nazir is actually a sinner because he deprived himself of the pleasure of drinking wine, and therefore he's called a sinner. And therefore, because it's coming in that respect, the chatas is coming to atone for a sin, and that's why it does not require the nisachim. Rabbi Gamliel says that just like she did in animalistic act, so therefore she brings a barley offering, and barley is animal food. Tanya Amar Loin, Rabbi Gamliel says to the Chachamim, Sofrim, scribes, Hanichu li v'adrashena, I will explain to you what's going on over here. Kimin chomer, like I'll explain to you as beautifully as a button. I think that's what it means. Deshamil Reb Meir, that I think that what's saying is that Reb Gamliel heard Reb Meir say. Now, Reb Gamliel was older than Reb Meir, I think, but I guess he heard Reb Meir say, that Reb Meir explained, well, she gave to this fellow who she had an affair with, delectable treats. Therefore, her korban is the opposite. It's the opposite of delectable. It's animal food. Amalei Hatenach Ashira. So says Rabbi Gamliel that okay, I understand if she's wealthy and she can afford delectable treats. What if she can't afford delectable treats? So then how do you explain the animal food korban? So therefore, Rabbi Gamliel says no, it has nothing to do with being able to afford delicious treats. She did something animalistic by having an affair with somebody who she's not married to. So therefore, she brings a korban that is animal food. Says the Mishnah, maybe pile, that he would bring a cup shel cheres of earthenware, v'nosein lesocha chatzi log mayim, and puts in this cup half a log of water, min kior, from the kior in the Beis Hamikdash. Right, the kior was the basin in the Beis Hamikdash. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Revius, Rabbi Yehuda says it was not a half a log of water; it was a quarter of a log of water. That we're going to see that Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is that you don't write so much on the parchment, and also you don't have so much water. Nichnas leheichal, the kohen then goes into the heichal. Ufanali mino, he turns to his right. Umakum hoyasham, and in the heichal there was a place over there. Amma al amma, that was one amma squared. V'tavla shel shayish, and there was a marble, I guess like plank over it. V'tabas oyekvua ba, and there was a ring in the marble thingy. Ukshehu magbia notel afim mitachteh, he would pick up the marble thingy, and then he would take dirt from under the marble thingy. V'nosein kidei sheyeroe alamayim, and he puts in enough dirt. He puts in dirt into the water so that it should be visible on top of the water. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, that from the dirt in the floor, in the karka of the Mishkan, the priest takes and puts it into the water. So in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Heichal, there would be this marble thingy that he would pick up and chop some dirt and put it in this water. Says the Gemara, Tana Pile Shel Cheres Chadosha to Rabbi Shmuel. So Rabbi Shmuel says that this was a new earthenware cup. My time with Rabbi Shmuel, how come Rabbi Shmuel says that it's a new cup? Gomer Kli Kli Mi Mitzorah, because he learns out of Gzeira Shaveh that it says Kli by Sotah and it says Kli by Mitzorah. Malaholan Cheres Chadosha Afkan Cheres Chadosha, and by Mitzorah, when it says that he slaughters the bird and the blood goes into this water in this vessel, it's a new vessel. So v'hasam minalan, how do we know that it's a new vessel by Mitzorah? The pasuk says v'shachat es hatzipor ha'achas el kli cheres al mayim chaim. Well, that you slaughter the one of the two, right? You take two birds from Mitzorah, as we learned about in Masechta Nazir, and then you slaughter one of them, and the bird goes into this water that is in a kli cheres. Ma'mayim chaim. And just like the pasuk says that the water is ma'im chaim, water that no work has been done with, avkli shelo nasa sabo melacha, so therefore the vessel also is a vessel that has not been used for work. So we see that by Mitzorah it requires a new earthenware vessel, and therefore when it comes to the Sotah also, where it says kli as well, we're talking about a new earthenware vessel. That is Reb Yishmael's opinion. Malaholan ma'im chaim, afkan ma'im chaim. But fact the Gemara, well, if by Mitzorah we require ma'im chaim, and therefore, and we're saying kli kli that we have Gzeira Shavah, so then by a Sotah it should also require ma'im chaim. Rabbi Shmuel hachinami. So we say, yeah, sure. The Amr Rabbi Yochanan mekir Rabbi Shmuel Omer me mayin hein. That Rabbi Shmuel's opinion is that the water in the kior, which is where we're getting this water for the Sotah from, was spring water, was ma'im chaim. So yeah, exactly. Just like by a Mitzorah, it's ma'im chaim in a new earthenware vessel. So also by Sotah, it's ma'im chaim from the kior in a new earthenware vessel. Whereas the Chacham's opinion is that no, the waters in the kior were not necessarily mayim chaim; they were other waters. Right, as Rashi says, you can even use mei mikvah, whatever you want. Fine. Okay. Ikal mifrach. But one second. Let me ask you a kasha on that Gzeira Shaveh. Mala Mitzorah shekenton eitz erez ve'ezov v'shni tolas. Mitzorah is more stringent than Sotah in that it requires cedar wood, hyssop, scarlet wool. These are things that are not required by Sotah, and therefore I understand why Mitzorah also requires a new vessel, ma'im chaim. There's all these stringencies. I wouldn't necessarily apply those same stringencies of the new vessel and the ma'im chaim to a sota which has no requirement for eitz eres ve'ezo v'shni tolas, Omer Rabo, Omer Kro, Bichli Cheres, Kli Shamarti, L'cho Kvarda. When it says by Sotah, Bichli Cheres, in the Kli Cheres, which Kli Cheres? The Kli Cheres already mentioned by Mitzorah, so we see that the pasuk is specifically saying that it should be the same Kli Cheres like by Mitzorah, which is a new Kli Cheres. So we see that the Kli Cheres by Sotah is a new Kli Cheres. Fine. Just like by Mitzorah. Omar, right, by Sotah, it's new Kli Cheres, just like by Mitzorah. Omar Rava, says Rava, Lo Shanu Ela Shelo Nisakmu Panov, and the Kli Cheres needs to be right. It has to be white. It can't be have gotten dirt. It could not get dirty. Avon Nisakmu Panov Psulin. But if the Kli Cheres got dirty, so then you can't use it for Sotah. My timer. How come? Dumi Demayim, just like the water. Ma Mayim Shelo Nishtanu, Haf Kli Shelo Nishtanu, just like the water by a Sotah did not change in any way. So also the earthenware vessel didn't change in any way, and it has to be clean, it has to be white. By Rave Nisakmu Vechzirin Lesoch Kivshon Eish V'Nislabnu Mai. What if they were white and then they got dirty, but then you put it back into the fire and it became white again? So then is that okay? Because at the end of the day, right, do we say, Meminun came into idchu? Do we say that, look, once they became dirty, forget about it? Or Dilma came into hadr. Or maybe we say that, well, once you put it back in the fire and now it's white once again, well, then that's fine. Tashmar Belazar Omer, says Belazar, Eitz Eres ve'ezo v'shnitolas, shehifshel bain kupasul achorev, that if, I think it's in the context of Mitzorah, that if you have the Eitz Eres, the ezov v'shnitolas, and you throw it, you like sling it over your shoulder, psulin, then they're no good. But now there, why are they no good? Because they got bent. And even though you can bend them back into shape, still we say it's no good. So it sounds like once it becomes no good, it's no good forever. Hasam de ikluf eklufe, to which Gemara says not necessarily. In that case, what happened was they got ruined. They didn't just get bent, they got peeled, they got ruined, and therefore that can never be restored. But maybe if this vessel became dirty and you make it white again, then it should be, then it could be okay. Friends, that was the Tes Vav of Masechta Sotah. We learned about the requirement for flour offerings to have oil and to have frankincense. We talked about the nisachim that you bring with that you don't bring with a korban chatas, because we don't want that the offering of a chatas should be a very beautiful offering, like we don't want to make a big beautiful scene. And then we talked about moving on with the Sotah sort of thing, where you take a Kli Cheres and you put it in water. Rabbi Shmuel's opinion was that the Kli Cheres dafka has to be new, and we said that it has to be white as well. It can't get dirty. Friends, that was Daf Tes Vav Masechta Sotah. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.